The cul-de-sac was alive with the buzz of carefree kids on bikes, a symphony of tires crunching pavement, laughter bouncing off driveways, and handlebars clinking together as we met at the Joneses' curb to plan the evening's adventure. Sammy had claimed his usual spot as leader, always riding ahead on his blue two-wheeler with the tassels whipping in the wind. Behind him, our little gang followed in loose formation, weaving in and out of twilight shadows that blanketed Mapleview Street. We called ourselves the Neighborhood Explorers, though there wasn't much exploring to do. We lived in a small town where you could bike from one end to the other and still have time for a glass of lemonade before the streetlights flickered on. But tonight, we felt daring. Haley dared us to race down Gooseberry Hill, the steepest street in town, and puckish pride wouldn't let the idea go. Sammy, ever bold, hollered and made a sharp turn toward the hill, sparking a chain reaction of whoops and hollers as the rest of us followed. The hill was exhilaration wrapped in danger. Gooseberry's incline greeted us like a daredevil stunt, and the rush of wind racing past our ears made all voices incoherent, replaced by squeals of freedom. Near the bottom, brakes squealed, and Haley nearly toppled into Mr. Barker's hedge. Breathless but victorious, we plopped our bikes onto the grass and sprawled out near old Mrs. Wilkes's picket fence, where fireflies blinked quietly in the dusk. We talked about ridiculous things, faraway places and imaginary lives we'd live someday. Then Sammy shouted, "Streetlights!" We scattered, peeling off toward our porches before Mom started calling from screen doors. It wasn't just about the bikes. It was about feeling endless and untouchable in a world that felt so small. Our rides always started at the old oak tree behind McHenry Church, where we parked our bikes like we were plotting great mischief. Betty was leaning against the tree, tying daisies to her basket, when Danny sped around the curve, shouting, "Last one around the block owes me an ice cream." He didn't wait for an answer, flying past on his shiny black cruiser, making the lot of us scramble to catch up. Around the neighborhood, the sidewalks were spotted with Mrs. Pruitt watering her roses and Mr. Goldberg painting his porch railing, both waving as we zipped by. Sally and I kept pace, laughing at how Danny always puffed up his chest like he was winning the Tour de France. Betty, adorned with her flowers, took her time. Not out of reluctance, but as if she saw beauty in every crack of the pavement we thundered over. At the playground, we stopped to breathe. Danny bought a lemonade with a nickel he'd scrounged from his pocket and shared it begrudgingly with us, claiming it didn't taste as good split 6 ways. Betty gave Sally a daisy she'd kept tucked in her dress pocket. We stayed long enough for the swings to creak in the cooling air, then took off once someone spotted the flicker of streetlights beyond the pine grove. Dusty and weary, we coasted to our homes, scattering like seeds in the warm twilight. For all those miles pedaled, we never really noticed the destination. It was the riding together that made it magic. No one told us rain might come. It wasn't in the forecast old Mr. Doyle listed on the corner bulletin. Still, when the clouds grew purple and heavy just after supper, we didn't hesitate to grab our bikes and meet at Baxter's Path, down where the creek barely spoke, but always seemed to glow. Rain teased us for a while, first just damp breezes and whispers on the treetops. We followed the gravel path past the creek and into the open subdivision, where the houses all had that new paint smell and fresh sod rolled onto their yards. It felt cleaner somehow, brighter than our older, sweetly worn neighborhoods. Max, whose dad worked construction, suggested we make those shiny new streets our territory for the night. Bigger hills, he promised. Each hill rose higher than the last, straight paved wonders where we could pedal faster than we'd ever dared. Raindrops started sprinkling, dotting the asphalt like tamest fireworks. Laughing, we sped down a hill, racing the storm, knowing the streetlights were too near and the time too late. None of us cared. Avery, my best friend, shouted that she wanted a picture of this. We all laughed harder, knowing it would fade before a camera could catch it. We reached the top of the last hill out of breath and soaked, before finally turning toward home, each pedal pushing against the cooling wind. It wasn't about the rain or the hills, but about finding a world brighter each time we pedaled.